The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry wasps. Ethan Crawford pressed his palms against his eyes, trying to push back the exhaustion that had become his constant companion. The clock on his office wall read 9:45 p.m. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, congealing in its styrofoam cup beside a stack of reports that seemed to multiply every time he looked away. His phone lit up for the 5th time. 5 missed calls from Mrs. Chen, the neighbor who watched his kids when work kept him late, which was always. The guilt twisted in his gut like a knife. "Still here, Crawford." His boss paused in the doorway, briefcase in hand, eyebrows raised. "Those kids of yours must be getting used to you working late." Ethan managed a tight smile. "Just finishing up." When his boss left, Ethan reached for his briefcase. A folded piece of construction paper fell out. Connor's latest drawing from art class. Stick figures of 6 children standing in a row holding hands. Above them in careful crayon letters, "I miss Mommy. When will the sad stop?" The question hit him like a punch. His shoulders shook. He was supposed to have the answer. He was the parent, the only one left. But 2 years after Rachel's death, he still didn't know how to make the sad stop. For them. For himself. He gathered his things with trembling hands. The office felt oppressive. The humming lights, the stale air, the ghost of his boss's words hanging in the space. "Those kids of yours." As if his 6 children were an inconvenience rather than the reason he dragged himself to work every day. The parking garage was nearly empty. His footsteps echoed off concrete as he walked to his car. His wedding ring clicked against the steering wheel when he gripped it white-knuckle tight. The radio came on automatically, playing a song Rachel had loved. He changed it quickly, swallowing hard. He drove through darkened suburban streets, past the playground where they used to take the kids on Saturday mornings. Past the coffee shop where Rachel would wait for him after doctor's appointments, pretending everything was fine, even when it wasn't. Past the life they'd built together, now just a series of painful memories he couldn't escape. Drowning on dry land, he whispered to the empty car. That's what the grief counselor had called it. 24 months of treading water, trying to keep 6 heads above the surface while his own kept slipping under. He was almost home when the streetlight illuminated something that made him slow down. A woman sat on a bus stop bench, hunched over herself like she was trying to disappear. No coat despite the November cold. No bag. Nothing but a thin summer dress that offered no protection against the wind. Ethan drove past. It wasn't his business. He had 6 kids at home who'd been waiting for him since dinner time. Mrs. Chen was probably ready to kill him, but the image stuck in his mind. The way the woman had trembled, the absolute stillness of her posture, like someone who'd given up. He circled back. When he parked and approached carefully, keeping his distance so as not to frighten her, he saw her clearly for the first time. Early 30s blonde hair with bangs that fell across her face. Hazel eyes that were hollow haunted. Bruises on her wrists, purple bleeding into yellow. Old and new injuries overlapping. "Miss, are you all right?" Her head snapped up, and for a moment pure terror flashed across her features. She pulled her arms close to her body, protective. Ethan raised his hands, stepping back. "I'm not going to hurt you. You're freezing." "It's November. I'm fine." The words cracked on the lie. "When's the last time you ate?" She didn't answer, just stared at him with those hollow eyes like she was trying to determine if he was a threat. Ethan saw himself 2 years ago in her expression. Broken, desperate, needing rescue, but too proud or too scared to ask for it. "There's a diner up the street. Let me buy you some food." "Please. You look like you could use a hot meal." "I don't have any money. I'm not asking you for money. I'm offering food." She studied him for a long moment. Her hand tightened on the edge of the bench and he could see her considering. Run or stay? Trust or flee? Finally she nodded. Just once. barely perceptible. Murphy's diner smelled like burnt coffee and cheap disinfectant with an underlying note of fryer grease that clung to everything. Country music played softly from a jukebox in the corner, and dishes clattered in the kitchen. An older couple sat in the corner booth, whispering and glancing their way. The waitress Deb, according to her name tag, had smudged eyeliner and a tired smile. Her shoes squeaked against the linoleum as she approached their table with a coffee pot already in hand. Claire, the woman, had finally given him that much. Just a first name, hesitated at the car door before getting in. Ethan had talked about his kids the whole drive, trying to seem less threatening. Mentioned how Connor had drawn a picture at school, how Lily had lost another tooth, how the 6 of them had recently learned to make pancakes together and burned half the batch. Normal. Safe. Boring dad talk. She'd kept her hand on the door handle the entire drive, ready to jump out if needed. Now in the diner, she sat with her back to the wall, angled toward the exit. Watching. Waiting for something bad to happen. Coffee, Deb asked, pot already poised. Claire nodded. And to eat just soup. And bread. Her voice was so quiet, Ethan had to lean forward to hear. He ordered a burger he wasn't hungry for, then leaned back, giving her space. I'm Ethan. Ethan Crawford. A long pause. Claire. No last name. She was hiding from something. Someone. You from around here? No. Just arrived today. Do you have somewhere to stay? Her silence was answer enough. Ethan studied her in the harsh diner lighting. The bruises formed a timeline on her skin, old ones fading to yellow-green, newer ones still purple and tender. The way she angled herself toward the exit. How she flinched when Deb reached past her to refill the coffee. The wedding ring still on her finger, white gold simple. She was running from her husband. The food arrived. Claire stared at her soup like she couldn't quite believe it was real. When she finally picked up the spoon, her hands shook so badly, some broth slopped over the side. Take your time, Ethan said gently. No rush. She ate slowly at first, then faster, like someone who hadn't eaten in days. Ethan pretended to focus on his burger, giving her privacy to satisfy her hunger without being watched. I have a guest room, he said. When she'd finished, the words coming out before his accountant brain could calculate all the ways this was insane. It's not much. House is chaos. Did I mention I have 6 kids? Sextuplets? They're 8. It's like living in a zoo. But it's warm. Safe. You'd have your own space. Claire's head snapped up. What, I'm serious? He kept his voice level, reasonable. It's room and board in exchange for helping out when you can. I go through about 14 nannies in 2 years. They all quit, say my kids are too difficult. Which is true. My kids are grieving. They act out, and I'm barely keeping everything together. He met her eyes directly. So I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a trade. You need a place. I need help. We help each other. She searched his face for the trick, the trap, the ulterior motive. I've never taken care of children. Have you survived impossible situations? Then you're qualified. Claire's throat worked as she swallowed. Why are you doing this? Ethan thought about Connor's drawing, about the 5 missed calls from Mrs. Chen, about 6 kids who'd watched their mother fade away and now lived with a father who was drowning in work and grief and guilt. Because 2 years ago my wife died. Cancer. Left me with 6 8-year-olds who just watched their mother waste away. He rotated his coffee mug in his hands. The numbers didn't add up anymore, you know. 1 parent, 6 kids, full-time job. The equation was impossible. Still is. He paused, gathering courage. I've been through 14 nannies in 2 years. They all say my kids are too difficult. And they're right. My kids are angry and sad and grieving, and I can barely keep my head above water. Another pause. So I'm not just offering charity. I'm asking for help. You need a safe place. I need someone who understands that perfect doesn't exist. Maybe we can help each other survive." Claire stared at him. Not charity a transaction. That she could accept. "I don't know anything about raising children. Neither did I when they were born. We'll figure it out together." Her eyes filled with tears. "I can't promise I'll be good at it. I can't promise my kids won't test you. But we can promise to try. Both of us. That's enough." She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll try." Ethan's house was exactly what Claire expected from a single father raising 6 children alone. Modest, 2-story with toys littering the yard. A deflated soccer ball, an overturned bicycle chalk drawings covering the driveway in layers of faded color and fresh scribbles. "Sorry about the mess," Ethan said as they pulled into the driveway. The porch light flickered. He made a mental note to change that bulb. "I gave up on perfect about 2 years ago. Inside the chaos was controlled but pervasive. Dishes piled in the sink, backpacks scattered across the floor like landmines, drawings taped to every available wall surface, some carefully hung, others stuck haphazardly with too much tape. A handmade card on the fridge read, "World's Best Dad," in 6 different handwriting styles. On the couch sat a worn teddy bear that had clearly been loved hard. Rachel's Ethan had mentioned in the car. The kids took turns sleeping with it. Photos covered every surface. 6 impossibly tiny babies in NICU incubators, wires and tubes everywhere. Rachel holding all 6 at once, actually 2 side-by-side photos, because one frame couldn't contain them all. First birthday with 6 high chairs, cake smashed into everything. School photos with 6 gap-toothed smiles. And Rachel's last photo. Thin-balled from chemotherapy, but smiling anyway. Always smiling. Determined to be brave for her babies, even when dying. Claire's throat tightened. This wasn't neglect. This was survival. Guest rooms down the hall. Ethan led her through the house. The room was small but clean. Fresh sheets on the bed. He'd changed them while at work, Claire realized. A dresser. A window that looked out onto the backyard. Simple. Sparse. Perfect. Through the walls she could hear 6 children sleeping. Breathing. An occasional whimper from someone having a nightmare. Bathrooms down the hall. Help yourself to whatever you need. Ethan stood in the doorway, exhaustion radiating off him. Fair warning, 6 kids wake up like alarm clocks at 6 a.m. It's loud. Thank you. Claire's voice broke. You have no idea what this means. Get some rest. Tomorrow you'll meet the chaos officially. When he left, Claire sat on the edge of the bed. Her hands went to the locket at her throat. Her mother's the only thing she'd saved from her marriage. 12 years flashed through her mind. Derek's voice. You're worthless, broken, useless. But tonight, a man she'd just met had seen her shivering on a bench and offered shelter without asking for anything in return. A man who didn't hurt her, didn't demean her, just helped. She cried quietly into the pillow, careful not to wake the children sleeping down the hall. Thunder of 12 feet on stairs jolted Claire awake at 6:03 a.m. Voices overlapped, arguing about something she couldn't quite make out. For a moment, disoriented in the unfamiliar room, terror seized her. She thought she was back in Derek's house, back in the nightmare. Then she remembered. Safe. Ethan's house. 6 children. She dressed quickly in the same clothes from yesterday. She had nothing else. And emerged cautiously into the hallway. The kitchen was an explosion of noise and motion. Connor, the oldest by 4 minutes, stood with his arms crossed, tall for his age, with a serious expression that didn't belong on an 8-year-old. Owen had the blue bowl yesterday. Mason, quieter than his brothers, watched from the doorway with observant eyes. He said nothing but tracked Claire's movements carefully as she hesitated at the kitchen entrance and did not. Owen couldn't sit still, bouncing on his toes as he reached for the disputed bowl. Connor had it. He bumped into the table and knocked over a cup. Milk spread across the surface in a white flood. Sophie stopped pulling Grace's hair. Lily's voice cut through the chaos. She had long curly brown hair in tangles and a fierce expression protective of her younger sister. Grace, the gentle one, was drawing on a napkin while chaos swirled around her. She looked up at Claire with curious eyes, taking in the stranger without fear or suspicion. Just interest. "Who's that?" Sophie, the youngest by 6 minutes, pointed directly at Claire. She wore her emotions on her sleeve, literally, as her face showed everything she felt without filter. In the middle of it all stood Ethan, burning scrambled eggs while rescuing toast from the toaster and trying to referee the bowl argument. His hair stuck up at odd angles. His shirt was misbuttoned. When he saw Claire, relief flooded his face. "Good morning." He turned off the stove before anything else could burn. "Welcome to breakfast. Or, as I call it, controlled chaos." 6 pairs of eyes turned to stare at the stranger in their kitchen. The silence fell like a dropped plate. Connor's voice came first, sharp and challenging. "Who are you kids? This is Claire. She's going to be staying with us for a while. She's going to help around the house." "Like the other nannies." Lily's voice dripped with suspicion. "They all leave." "I'm not a nanny." Claire found her voice stepping further into the kitchen. "I'm just someone who needs a place to stay. Your dad was kind enough to help me." Why Mason's question was direct, simple, impossible to deflect. "Because I had nowhere else to go." "Are you sad?" Grace tilted her head, artist's observation, catching what others might miss. The question caught Claire off guard. Children saw what adults learned to hide. "Yes, I am. But I'm trying not to be. Our mum died." Sophie volunteered the information matter-of-factly, as if discussing the weather. "That made us sad, too." Sophie Connor's voice went protective, trying to shield his siblings from their own grief. Ethan's expression tightened, but he didn't correct them. This was their way of processing. Their way of making sense of the incomprehensible. "I'm very sorry about your mom." Claire met each child's eyes in turn. "That must be really hard." "You're not her." Lily's voice was fierce. "Don't try to be. I don't want to be her." Claire kept her voice firm but kind. "I couldn't be even if I tried. Your mum was special to you. No one can replace her. I'm just Claire. That's all." Something shifted in Lily's expression. The hardness cracked slightly, revealing the hurt little girl underneath. Ethan served the burnt eggs with an apologetic grimace. Claire started picking up dishes, automatically bringing them to the sink. "You don't have to help. You should rest. I'd like to help, if that's okay." The kids scattered after breakfast, a choreographed chaos as they prepared for school. Connor called out, "Come on, everyone. Bus in 20 minutes." 6 bodies dispersed like startled birds, thundering up the stairs in a cacophony of footsteps. Clothing chaos erupted from above. Lost shoes, mismatched socks. Someone couldn't find their homework. Someone else had forgotten to sign a permission slip. Ethan ran interference, moving from room to room with practiced efficiency. Claire observed from the kitchen as she washed dishes. Connor checked on his younger siblings. Mason found Owen's backpack under a pile of dirty laundry. Lily braided Grace's hair badly, all thumbs and good intentions. Sophie talked non-stop to anyone who would listen, narrating her entire morning routine. This was love. Messy, loud, overwhelming love. Ethan appeared in the kitchen packing 6 brown paper bags in assembly line fashion. Connor hates mayonnaise. Lily only eats strawberry jam. Mason needs his sandwich cut diagonally. Owen likes extra juice. Grace wants carrot sticks. Sophie forgets to eat if there's no note. He said it like a mantra, practiced until it was muscle memory. You're good at this, Claire observed quietly. Ethan's laugh was hollow. I'm surviving. There's a difference. The bus arrived. Chaos of backpacks and jackets. 6 voices calling goodbye in overlapping waves. The door slammed. Sudden silence descended like a blanket. Ethan sagged against the counter. That's every morning. Every single morning for 2 years. Claire looked at the disaster zone kitchen, felt the weight of his exhaustion pressing down on both of them. Let me help you clean up. You don't have to. I want to. And she did, because for the first time in 12 years, someone had helped her without demanding payment. The least she could do was wash some dishes. The first 7 days were a testing period. Claire knew it. The children knew it. Even Ethan knew it, though he pretended not to notice. Day 1, the kids ignored every request Claire made. Connor was the ringleader, 11 minutes older than the others, and acting like it gave him authority. You're not my mom. You can't tell me what to do. Claire didn't argue, just cleaned up the mess Connor made and moved on. She'd learned from Derek that arguing never won. Silence and persistence outlasted anger. Day 2, Lily deliberately knocked over a puzzle Claire had just finished helping Mason organize. The pieces scattered across the living room floor. Lily watched to see the reaction. Would this woman yell, "Hit leave"? Claire knelt and started picking up the pieces. These are pretty. Want to help me put it back together? Lily stared confused by the lack of anger, then slowly picked up 3 pieces and handed them over. Day 3. Sophie asked for a snack. Claire made apple slices with peanut butter. You did it wrong. Mom cut them different. Can you show me how your mom did it? Sophie's surprise was palpable. An adult asking for help. From her, she cut them like stars with the special cutter. Where's the cutter? They found it together in the back of a drawer, clearly unused since Rachel died. Sophie carefully showed Claire the right way, and they made star-shaped apples together. Day 4, Mason was the watcher. He didn't speak to Claire directly, but observed everything she did. Testing without words. On the 4th day, he left his empty plate on the counter instead of dropping it on the floor like his siblings. Small progress. Day 5. Owen tested boundaries, refusing bedtime. Claire didn't fight it. She just sat in the living room reading quietly. Eventually, Owen came downstairs, sleepy and rubbing his eyes. Can you read to me the first crack in his armor? I'd love to. She read 3 chapters of a book about dragons before he fell asleep against her shoulder. When Ethan came home late from work, he found them like that. Claire carefully holding Owen so he wouldn't fall still reading aloud, even though the boy was unconscious. You didn't have to wait for me. I didn't mind. Day 6. Grace drew a picture and shyly showed it to Claire. That's you. She pointed to a figure standing next to stick figures of 6 children and 1 man. Claire's throat tightened. It's beautiful. Thank you, Grace. Grace smiled and ran off to show it to her siblings. Day 7. Connor remained the holdout. He watched Claire like a hawk, waiting for her to quit like all the others, waiting for the inevitable disappointment. But Claire had survived 12 years with Derek. She knew patience. She knew how to read moods before they exploded, how to anticipate needs before they became demands, how to make herself useful without being intrusive. Those survival skills born from abuse became exactly what these children needed. Late that night, after the kids were asleep, Ethan found Claire folding laundry at 10 p.m. You don't have to do this. The deal was just helping with kids. I don't mind. Keeps my hands busy. She smoothed Connor's shirt carefully. Helps me sleep. Ethan sat on the arm of the couch. They're testing you, waiting for you to quit. I know. Her hands kept moving. I'm not going anywhere. They might not warm up for months. The last nanny lasted 3 days. I have nowhere else to go, remember? And she folded a tiny sock, Sophie's with butterflies embroidered on the side. And they remind me what unconditional love looks like. They love you even when you're exhausted, even when breakfast is burnt, even when you can't fix everything. That's something I forgot existed. Ethan's chest tightened. What happened to you, Claire? I'll tell you when I'm ready. If that's okay. Of course. But looking at the bruises fading on her wrists, Ethan knew enough. Someone had hurt her, badly, for a long time. By the end of week 2, Claire knew she needed a job. Relying entirely on Ethan felt too much like depending on Derek. She needed independence, proof that she could stand on her own feet. She applied to 8 places. 5 didn't call back. 2 interviews ended uncomfortably when they saw the gaps in her resume and asked questions she couldn't answer. One almost hired her until the manager asked, "Are you married?" I was. Divorced, silence. She was supposed to be dead. How could she explain that? They didn't hire her. Then she found Riverside Books. The bookstore smelled like old paper coffee and vanilla candles. Wooden floors creaked underfoot. Floor-to-ceiling shelves were overstuffed with volumes in no particular order. The delightful chaos of a well-loved, independent shop. Reading nooks with worn armchairs invited lingering. A cat named Mr. Darcy slept in the front window. Margaret Chen. The owner was 68, with silver hair in a neat bun. Wise eyes that saw everything and reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She wore a cardigan covered in cat hair and always had tea in hand. You've got no references. Margaret studied the blank application Claire had filled out with shaking hands. No work history for 12 years. And you're trembling so hard you can barely hold the pen. Claire's throat closed. I understand. Thank you for your time. She stood to leave. I didn't say no. Claire froze. Margaret set down the application. I said I notice. 30 years ago I sat where you're sitting. Couldn't even write my own name without my hand shaking. She pushed a cup of tea across the counter. Drink. Then tell me why you really need this job. Claire's eyes burned. I'm starting over. From nothing. And I need to prove to myself I can stand on my own feet, running from someone. Yes. Does he know where you are? He thinks I'm dead. Margaret absorbed this without flinching. Good. Keep it that way. She pulled out paperwork. Minimum wage, 20 hours a week while the kids are at school. We close Sundays. I don't ask questions about your past, and you don't steal from me. Deal. Claire's voice broke. Deal. You can cry after you clock in. We've got books to shelve. On Claire's first day, Margaret taught silently and patiently. The alphabetizing system, customer service basics, where the extra tissues were kept behind the counter for crying customers. Margaret knew her clientele well. How to recommend books based on mood rather than genre. You know books, Margaret observed after watching Claire help a customer find the perfect novel. I love them. Then you'll do fine here. This job isn't about selling. It's about matching people with stories they need. How do you know what they need? Margaret smiled. You listen to what they don't say. 2 weeks later, Claire held her first paycheck. $342. Not much. But it was hers. Her name printed on it. Her work. Her independence. She cried in the bookstore bathroom for 10 minutes. Margaret found her. First paycheck. Claire nodded, unable to speak. I cried too. 30 years ago. Felt like I was holding freedom. It's not even that much money. Doesn't matter. It's yours. No one can take it from you. No one can use it to control you. Margaret handed her tissues. You're going to be okay, Claire. It'll take time, but you're going to be okay. For the first time since leaving Derek, Claire believed it. 4 weeks into her stay, Claire was folding laundry in the living room when Owen appeared, clutching a crumpled piece of paper. Tear tracks stained his cheeks. His voice came out small and scared. Can you help me? The assignment was simple enough on the surface: draw your family. Due tomorrow. But Owen's distress ran deeper than procrastination. I don't remember exactly what Mom looked like. Claire's heart broke. Can I see photos of her? Owen led her to Ethan's study. On the desk sat a framed photo of Rachel. Beautiful woman with warm brown eyes and a bright smile, holding 6 babies wrapped in rainbow blankets. She was beautiful, Claire said softly. Your dad keeps her picture where he works, so he can remember her while he's away. That's love, Owen. Do you have pictures of your mum? Claire touched the locket at her throat. Just one in here. She died when I was young, too. Did you forget what she looked like? Sometimes the details get fuzzy, but I never forgot how she made me feel. Safe. Loved. That doesn't fade even when faces do. Owen considered this with the wisdom of a child forced to grow up too fast. Dad says Mom loved us more than anything. Even when she was sick and the medicine made her tired, she still read us stories. Then that's what you draw. Not just what she looked like, but what she did. Draw her reading to you. Draw the feeling. Owen's face lit up. They sat at the coffee table together. Claire folded laundry while Owen worked on his drawing. She didn't help with the actual art. Didn't need to. He didn't need answers. He just needed someone who understood, who wouldn't rush him or tell him his grief was inconvenient. The finished piece showed Rachel on a couch with 6 small figures nestled around her. A book lay open in her lap. Stars floated in the background. Heaven, Owen explained. The title read in careful letters, Mom's Stories Never End. That evening, Ethan came home and stopped cold at the sight of the drawing on the refrigerator. His breathing changed, shoulders shaking. He walked outside quickly before anyone could see him cry. Claire found him on the porch, hands braced on the railing, silent tears streaming down his face. I couldn't help him with that. Ethan's voice was rough. Every time they ask about her, I freeze. I don't know how to talk about Rachel without falling apart. You don't have to have all the answers. Claire stood beside him, careful not to touch without permission. You just have to be there. I'm failing them. You're doing better than you think. You see that drawing? That's not failure. That's a child who knows he was loved. You gave him that. Ethan looked at her. Really looked. How did you know what to say to him? I didn't. I just listened. Sometimes that's enough. Silence. Crickets chirped in the distance. A car passed on the street. Thank you for helping him. He helped me too. And it was true. These children with their raw grief and honest emotions were teaching Claire that it was okay to feel. Okay to hurt. Okay to heal. That night, after the kids were asleep, they sat at the kitchen table with tea. Their nightly routine had formed without discussion, just 2 exhausted people finding comfort in quiet companionship. You've been here a month, Ethan said. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For you to quit like the 14 before you. I'm not going anywhere. Why I know this isn't easy. 6 kids who test you constantly. Living in chaos. Making barely any money at the bookstore. Claire traced the rim of her mug. Because for the first time in 13 years, I feel like I have purpose. Because your kids remind me what real love looks like. She met his eyes. Because you showed up when I needed someone. This is me showing up for you, for them, for myself. Something shifted in Ethan's expression. Not romantic. Not yet. But the beginning of something deeper than gratitude. Trust. Week 9 brought a breakthrough with Lily. Claire heard crying from upstairs one Tuesday evening. In Lily's room, posters of Rachel everywhere, Rachel's jewelry box on the dresser that Ethan had given her. Lily sat surrounded by chaos. A hairbrush handle lay broken in half. Her long, curly hair had become a tangled nest. She sobbed with frustration and anger and grief. I can't do it. I can't make it look right. Mom always did it, and now it's all wrong, and I hate it, and I miss her, and... She dissolved into tears. Claire stood in the doorway, unsure. Can I try to help? You'll just make it worse. But it wasn't really anger. It was fear. Maybe, but it can't get much more tangled than it already is. Lily hiccuped a laugh through her tears. Claire sat on the bed edge. Lily sat in front, rigid as stone. My mum used to brush my hair, too. Claire's hands were gentle, patient with each knot. Every night before bed. She'd sing while she did it. What song? Claire's voice was rusty from disuse, but she sang anyway. A soft lullaby her mother had sung a lifetime ago. Her hands moved with practiced care, never pulling too hard, working through tangles like they mattered. Because they did. Lily relaxed by degrees. Your mom had curly hair too. She did. She always said it had a mind of its own. That's what my mum said. Lily twisted to look at Claire, eyes wide. She said my hair was special, that it was strong and beautiful and wild just like me. Your mom was right. When Claire finished, Lily ran to the mirror. Her hair fell in soft, neat curls down her back. Like before. Like when Rachel was alive. You made it look like when Mum did it. Your mum had good taste. Lily turned suddenly and wrapped her arms around Claire's waist. The hug was fierce, desperate. A child's grief pouring out after being held in too long. Claire held her, let her cry for the mother she'd lost too soon. I miss her so much. I know, sweetheart, I know. They sat together on the bed, Lily's head on Claire's shoulder, both quiet. No longer alone in their pain. An hour later, Ethan found them like that. Lily asleep against Claire's shoulder. Claire's eyes red but peaceful. Their gazes met across the room. No words needed. Understanding passed between them. Something had shifted. That night over tea, Ethan said, Lily hasn't let anyone touch her hair since Rachel died. She'd rather it be tangled than let someone who wasn't her mom help. She's protecting the memory. You didn't try to replace Rachel. You just saw her pain and met her where she was. Claire's hand touched the locket at her throat. An unconscious gesture. I know what it's like to lose the person who made you feel safe. Your mother. And my baby. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Silence. Too late to take them back. You had a child. Ethan's voice was careful, gentle. No. Claire's breath shook. I got pregnant. After 12 years of trying, after 12 years of my husband telling me I was broken, useless, that I couldn't even do the one thing women were supposed to do. I finally got pregnant. Tears spilled over, and he beat me because I smiled at his business partner, said I was flirting, embarrassing him. I told him about the baby to make him stop, but he didn't believe me, called me a liar, and the next thing I remember is waking up in a hospital bed, and they told me the baby was gone. Ethan's hands clenched into fists. Christ, Claire. That's when I knew I had to leave, not just for me, for the child I'd lost, to make their short existence mean something. How did you escape our family doctor? She'd seen the abuse for years. She helped me fake my death, gave me money to run. I came here to start over, but I got robbed my first day. Everything she'd given me was gone. She met his eyes. Then you found me on that bench. Ethan reached across the table, took her hand carefully. You're safe now. You know that, right? I'm starting to believe it. 12 weeks in Connor finally broke. The school called. Connor was in a fight. Ethan was stuck in a meeting at work. Couldn't leave. He called Claire, voice tight with stress. I know this isn't part of the deal, but can you? I'll go. At school, Connor sat outside the principal's office with a bloody lip and scraped knuckles, his expression defiant. Claire sat beside him. Didn't speak. Just sat. 5 minutes of silence passed. He said I didn't have a real family. Connor's voice came out small, wrong, coming from the 8-year-old trying so hard to be tough. Jason. He said since my mom died, and my dad's too busy, and I only have a fake mom, that means I don't have a real family. Claire's chest tightened. What did you say? I punched him? Good. Connor's head snapped up. You're not mad. Oh, you're in trouble. Fighting is wrong, and we'll discuss consequences. But defending your family. That I understand. Pause. Connor, I need you to hear something. I'm not trying to replace your mom. I could never be her. Your mom was brave and strong, and she loved you more than life itself. No one can replace that. Connor's eyes filled with tears he fought not to shed. But I am part of your family now, not as a replacement, just as someone who cares about you, who will show up for you, who will sit in this principal's office with you when you're in trouble. You promise you won't leave, like the others. I promise. Connor broke then, threw himself into her arms and sobbed. 8 years old, trying so hard to be strong, finally allowed to break. I'm scared all the time. Scared Dad will die too. Scared you'll leave. Scared we're too much trouble and everyone will keep leaving until we're alone. You're not too much. You're exactly enough. She held him while he cried, while 3 months of testing and pushing and waiting for her to fail finally broke open into trust. Can I call you something? Connor asked when he'd calmed. Not Mom, but not Miss Claire either. Something just ours. What do you want to call me? Connor thought. Ree. Like how Claire sounds in the middle. Ree. Claire tested it. I like it. Can we go home now? Ree, let's go home. In the car, Connor asked, Are you going to tell Dad I got in a fight? Yes. We don't keep secrets. Will he be mad? He'll be disappointed you used violence. But I think he'll understand why. Connor processed this. The other nannies would have told him to punish me, and then they'd quit the next day. I'm not quitting. I know. That's why I'm glad you're here. Simple. Direct. 8-year-old honesty. I'm glad I'm here too. That evening, all 6 kids started calling her Ree, their name for her, a family name. Not Mom. That was Sacred Rachel's forever. But Ree, that was theirs. Ethan found her in the garden after the kids were asleep. They gave you a family name? Is that okay? It's perfect. It means you're theirs now. Really theirs. And that doesn't bother you, that I'm becoming part of their lives this way. Ethan met her eyes. Something new flickered in his expression. No, it doesn't bother me at all. 6 months transformed Claire's life in ways she'd never imagined possible. Mornings began with the thunder of 12 feet on stairs. Breakfasts were controlled chaos. Ethan burning toast while Owen spilled milk. Sophie talked non-stop. Connor directed operations. Mason quietly ensured everyone had what they needed. Grace drew on napkins and Lily hummed off-key. Claire worked at the bookstore 20 hours a week, arriving home by 3 when the kids got off the bus. Homework happened at the kitchen table while she made snacks. Connor told her about soccer practice. Lily showed her drawings. Mason finally started sharing jokes. Owen asked to bake cookies. Grace and Sophie taught her elaborate hand-clapping games. Evenings were family game nights, Ethan's idea. The kids cheated shamelessly at Monopoly and Sorry. Ethan pretended not to notice. Everyone laughed until their sides hurt. Wednesdays were Claire's day off. She couldn't help but clean the house. 12 years of habit were hard to break. She'd started a small garden in the backyard, something she'd always wanted, but Derek had forbidden. When the kids came home and saw the garden, they swarmed her. "Can we help 6 kids with dirt under their fingernails and hair going wild?" Claire showed Sophie how to plant marigolds. Owen dug holes with the intensity of an archaeologist searching for dinosaur bones. Connor directed planting operations. Mason quietly ensured everyone had enough water for their sections. Grace made patterns with river stones. Lily hummed while she worked. Ethan came home early and saw them through the kitchen window, Claire wearing Rachel's gardening gloves. He'd given her permission to use Rachel's things, said it made him happy to see them used again, teaching Sophie the proper way to tuck seeds into soil. Owen's enthusiasm creating more chaos than help. Connor keeping everyone on task. Mason the quiet support system. Grace making art from anything she touched, Lily's music underlying it all. His family, not the one he'd lost, but the one he was building. And Claire. Claire fit like she'd always been there. When had that happened? When had the guest become essential? When had he stopped thinking of her as the broken woman on the bench and started seeing her as simply Claire? Funny, patient, strong. Claire who sang while making breakfast and left encouraging notes in the kids' lunches and stayed up late helping with science projects. When had her smile become the first thing he looked for each morning? When had her voice become the sound that made his shoulders relax after a terrible day at work? When had he fallen? Oh God, he'd fallen in love with her. Ethan gripped the kitchen counter. No, not now. She's healing. Building independence. She needs time without pressure. The kids need stability. This is a bad idea. All the rational arguments lined up like soldiers, none of them changed the truth sitting heavy in his chest. He was in love with Claire. Had been for a while, probably. Just too stubborn or scared or busy to notice. But watching her now covered in dirt, teaching his children to grow things looking more at peace than that terrified woman from November. There was no denying it anymore. Later that evening, Claire had her own realization. Kids in bed, kitchen cleanup. Their routine had become comfortable. Ethan washing dishes, Claire drying. Their hands brushed, reaching for the same plate. Electricity shot up her arm. She pulled back too quickly. "Sorry," they said simultaneously, then laughed nervously. But Claire's heart was racing. When had that started? That hitch in her chest when he walked in after work. That warmth spreading through her when he laughed at her terrible jokes. That safety she felt in his presence, different from just security. Something deeper that made her want... No. Claire forced the thought away. She couldn't want that. Couldn't want him. She'd been married for 12 years to a monster. How could she trust her own judgment about men? How could she even think about love when she was still healing from wounds that might never fully close? And Ethan, he was still grieving. Rachel. This was Rachel's house. Her garden gloves. Her children. Her life. Claire couldn't want to take that place. Even if sometimes late at night she imagined what it would be like if they were more than housemates, more than friends, more than... No. She shut it down hard. This arrangement worked. She was safe. The kids were happy. Ethan had the help he desperately needed. Don't complicate it. Don't risk it. Don't hope for more. Hope was dangerous. Hope got you hurt. Hope made you vulnerable to pain you couldn't survive a second time. But that night, lying in bed, both thought about the other. Both fought it. Both failed. Month 8 brought a rare gift, all 6 kids invited to a sleepover simultaneously. Says, Chen's granddaughter was having a birthday party with an overnight stay. Somehow, miraculously, all 6 Crawford kids made the guest list. The house fell silent at 6 p.m. Ethan stood in the living room looking lost. I don't know what to do with myself. It's never quiet. We could watch an actual movie, one without cartoons or talking animals. They settled on the couch, started a documentary about something safe and historical. Civil War battles, maybe, or ancient Rome. It didn't matter. They both fell asleep 30 minutes in, exhausted from weeks of constant motion. When they woke to credits rolling, the house was dark except for the TV's glow. Ethan's arm had somehow ended up around Claire's shoulders. Claire had somehow tucked herself against his side. Both froze when they realized their position. Should move. Didn't want to. Sorry, Ethan said, his voice rough with sleep. I didn't mean to. It's okay. But neither moved yet. The moment stretched, comfortable and terrifying. Claire. His voice changed, dropped lower. Can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever... He stopped. Started again. Is it just me, or is there something... She turned to look at him. Big mistake. Their faces were inches apart. His eyes dropped to her lips. Her breath caught. Ethan, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm imagining this. You're not. His hand came up, cupped her cheek. His thumb traced her jaw with heartbreaking gentleness. I don't want to push you. I know you're still healing. I'm terrified. The honesty came raw and unfiltered. Of this, of wanting this, of what it means, me too. They hovered there, breath-mingling hearts racing. Almost leaning in, almost closing the distance, almost. The front door burst open. Dad Owen threw up. They sprang apart like teenagers caught sneaking around. Mrs. Chen stood in the doorway with 6 kids, Owen looking miserable and pale. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Chen said, clearly distressed. Birthday cake didn't agree with him. No, it's fine. Ethan jumped up, went to Owen. Hey, buddy, let's get you cleaned up. Claire stood, heart still racing, trying to look normal. 6 kids flooding back in meant chaos returning. The moment was gone, but not forgotten. Later, after Owen was settled in bed with ginger ale and crackers after the other kids crashed in the living room too excited to sleep properly, Ethan and Claire found themselves in the kitchen. We should talk about... I know. Silence hung between them. I've been feeling this for a while, Ethan admitted. Tried to ignore it. Told myself it was wrong too soon, you needed time. I've been feeling it too. His eyes met hers across the small kitchen. But I'm scared, Ethan. Scared that wanting something good means it'll be taken away. Scared that I don't know the difference between love and survival anymore. Scared that I'd never hurt you. I know. Rationally, I know. She wrapped her arms around herself. But 12 years of Derek telling me I was worthless, broken, unlovable, that doesn't just disappear. Ethan took her hands, careful, gentle, giving her space to pull away if she needed. Then we go slow. We figure this out together. No pressure, no expectations, just honest. The kids already love you. This wouldn't change that. What if we try and it doesn't work? Then I lose them. I can't. Her voice broke. We won't let that happen. You can't promise that. You're right. I can't promise it'll be perfect. He squeezed her hands gently. But I can promise I'll try. That I'll be honest. That I'll respect your boundaries. That I'll never ever make you feel trapped. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I'm not good at this. At relationships. At trust. At... Neither am I. Lost my wife 2 years ago. Single dad to 6 kids. Work too much. Burn breakfast regularly. Fall asleep during movies. He smiled. We're both disasters. Maybe that's okay. She laughed through her tears. So what do? We keep doing what we're doing. But we acknowledge this thing between us. We let it grow at its own pace. We don't hide from it. Okay. They stood there, hands linked, both terrified and hopeful. Then Sophie appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Ree, can you tuck me in? I can't sleep without a story. Of course, sweetheart. The moment passed, but the understanding remained. They were in this together now, whatever this became. Month 9. Mrs. Chen insisted on babysitting. You two need time alone. Real time. Go to dinner like adults. The kids excitedly helped Claire pick an outfit, debating colors and styles with the seriousness of fashion designers. They settled on a simple blue dress Margaret had helped her buy with her bookstore earnings. The restaurant was a small Italian place with candlelight and checked tablecloths. Quiet. Intimate. Both of them were nervous as teenagers. I haven't been on a date in... Ethan calculated. 14 years. I haven't been on a real date ever. Derek didn't do dates. He did demands. Well, this is a terrible first date then. I'm rusty and you're traumatized, and we're both probably sweating through our nice clothes. Claire laughed. A real laugh that eased some of the tension. Actually, this is perfect, because it's honest. They talked. Really talked. Not about kids or house logistics or daily schedules. About dreams, fears, hopes for the future. What did you want to be? Ethan asked over pasta that was actually good. Before Derek. A teacher. High school English. I wanted to show kids that books could be escape routes and weapons and friends all at once. You still could. I'm 32 with no degree and you could still do it if you wanted. Go back to school. Finish what he interrupted. She'd never let herself think that far ahead. The possibility sat strange and hopeful in her chest. What about you? Did you always want to be an accountant? Ethan laughed. God, no. I wanted to be a carpenter. Build things with my hands. Rachel thought it was impractical, pushed me toward business school. She was right, probably. Carpentry doesn't pay for 6 kids. But you still think about it. Sometimes. When I'm drowning in spreadsheets at 2 a.m, I think about wood grain and sawdust and making something real. You should do it. As a hobby, at least. Maybe. He smiled. Maybe now that I have help, I could think about things besides just surviving. Their eyes met across the table. I like you, Claire. Really like you. And I know that's terrifying given everything you've been through, but I need you to know. I see you. Not the scared woman on the bench, not just the helper with the kids. I see Claire who loves books and burns cookies when she's distracted and sings off-key and makes the kids laugh. I see you fitting into my chaos like you were always meant to be there. Claire's throat tightened. I see you too. The father who would do anything for his kids. The man who stopped for a stranger because it was right. The accountant who dreams of being a carpenter. The widower still learning to live again. She reached across the table, took his hand. I like you too, Ethan, and that terrifies me. But I'm tired of letting fear make all my decisions. So we try. Slow. Honest. He lifted her hand, kissed her knuckles. First real moment of romance. Both of them shaking slightly. Both of them smiling. When they arrived home, the kids should have been asleep. Were not. All 6 sat on the stairs in pajamas, waiting like a jury. So Connor demanded, did he kiss her? Connor? Ethan's ears went red. Did you hold hands? Were there candles? Was it romantic? What did you eat? Kids, that's private. Yes, we held hands? Claire interrupted, unable to stop smiling. Yes, there were candles. And it was very nice. Now bed, all of you. It's almost midnight. Groans, but they complied. As they trudged upstairs, Sophie turned back. Does this mean Ree is your girlfriend now, Dad? Ethan looked at Claire. I'd like that, if that's okay with you. It's okay with me. 6 kids erupted in cheers. Finally, Lily threw her hands up dramatically. We've been waiting forever! You knew, Ethan blinked. Dad, everyone knew. You make googly eyes at each other constantly. It's gross. It's not gross, Grace insisted. It's sweet. It's about time, Connor said with 8-year-old authority. Now can we please sleep? Mason asked reasonably. Some of us have soccer in the morning. They scattered like birds, leaving Ethan and Claire alone in the entry. Well, Ethan said. That went well. Suspiciously well. They planned this. Definitely. They laughed, then stopped, looked at each other in the quiet house. I should say good night, Claire whispered. You should. Neither moved. Ethan. Yeah, thank you, for tonight, for all of it. Thank you for giving this a chance. For giving us a chance. Good night. Good night, Claire. She went upstairs. He watched her go. Both fighting smiles. Both terrified. Both hopeful. 14 months after that November night on the bench, Claire's life had settled into something approaching normal. She worked full-time at the bookstore now. The kids called her Ree without thinking. She and Ethan had been officially dating for 5 months. Slow, careful building trust brick by brick. Kissing, hand-holding, long conversations after the kids were asleep. Nothing rushed. Everything earned. Then one afternoon at the bookstore, Claire's carefully constructed peace shattered. Margaret's computer sat open to a news site. Claire glimpsed a headline in passing that made her blood freeze. Local philanthropist honors late wife's memory. Derek Matthews establishes scholarship fund. The photo showed Derek in a perfectly tailored suit, holding a plaque, his smile practiced and perfect. The caption read, Matthews lost his beloved wife, Claire, in tragic accident 2 years ago. She would have wanted to help others, he says, of scholarship for underprivileged women. Claire's hands started shaking so violently she dropped the books she'd been shelving. Can't breathe, can't move, can't think. 2 years. It had been 2 years since she'd died, and Derek was using her death for publicity, playing the grieving widower, getting sympathy, probably donations, building his reputation on her corpse while she was supposed to stay silent, stay dead, stay grateful she'd escaped with her life. Claire Margaret's voice sounded distant, muffled. Honey, what's wrong? The walls closed in. Full panic attack seized her chest like a vice. Margaret guided her to the back room. Brown paper bag. Breathe, can't, breathe, can't. What happened? Claire pointed at the screen with a shaking hand. Margaret read. Her face hardened like stone. That's him. Your husband, nod. And he's pretending to mourn you. Another nod. That son of a... Margaret bit off the curse. Claire's phone rang. Ethan's name on the screen. She couldn't answer, couldn't form words, couldn't make her lungs work properly. Margaret answered for her. Ethan. It's Margaret. You need to come get Claire. Now. 10 minutes later, he must have broken speed limits. Ethan burst through the bookstore's back door. Claire sat on the floor, still hyperventilating, arms wrapped around her knees. He knew what to do, had helped Rachel through panic attacks during chemotherapy. He knelt beside her without touching, giving her control. Claire, look at me. Match my breathing. In, out, in, out. Slowly, deliberately, her eyes found his. Focused. That's it. In. Out. You're safe. I'm here. Minutes passed. Her breathing steadied. The world stopped spinning. What happened? She pointed at the computer. Ethan read the article. His jaw clenched so tight she heard his teeth grind. He's still out there. Claire's voice came out hollow. Living his perfect life. Being celebrated. While I'm supposed to stay dead and silent and grateful, I escaped. We're going to fix this. How? If I come forward, I admit I faked my death. I could go to jail. Not if we prove why you had to. It's my word against his. He's a respected businessman. I'm nobody. You're not nobody. Ethan took her hands carefully. And you have evidence. Medical records. Doctor's testimony. Margaret's statement about the condition you were in. Mrs. Chen saw you that first night. You have people who will stand with you. I'm scared. I know. But you're not alone this time. That evening, after the kids were in bed, they sat at the kitchen table. Tea cooling untouched. What do you want to do? Ethan asked. I don't know. Do you want him to keep getting away with it? Of course not. Then we fight. Together. The kids will find out everything about what he did to me, about the baby. They'll understand. They're stronger than you think. What if I lose? What if he destroys me? What if you win? Ethan interrupted gently. What if you take back your voice, your story? What if you show those kids that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is fight even when you're terrified? Claire looked at him. This man who'd saved her, who'd given her family, who'd taught her that love didn't have to hurt. Will you be with me? Through all of it, every step. Promise, I promise. The next 2 weeks became a blur of meetings and preparation. Dr. Priscilla Morrison's office smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. Boxes of medical files covered her desk. 12 years of documented abuse. First visit, de Morrison said, her 62-year-old hands steady as she laid out folders chronologically. Bruises on arms. You said you fell. Second visit, broken rib. You said you tripped downstairs. Third visit, sprained wrist. You said you caught it in a car door. Each file told the same story. Injuries explained away with lies that got thinner with each repetition. Photos taken but not reported because Claire had begged her not to, terrified of what Derek would do. Sarah Chen. The lawyer taking Claire's case pro bono asked the obvious question. Why didn't you report it? Because he'd threatened to kill her if she told anyone. Dr. Morrison said flatly. And I believed him. I've been practicing medicine for 40 years. I know a man capable of murder when I see one. The final file was thickest. The night Claire lost the baby. Blunt force trauma to abdomen. Internal bleeding. Miscarriage at 14 weeks. She came in barely conscious. He'd beaten her unconscious, then left her there. If her neighbor hadn't found her, she would have died. Claire stared at photos of herself she didn't remember. Her own face unrecognizable. Swollen, broken bleeding. Trauma had mercifully erased that night. This is enough, Sarah said firmly. This is more than enough. But will they believe it? Claire whispered. He's Derek Matthews. Respected. Wealthy. Philanthropist. And you're the woman he tried to kill. With 12 years of documentation proving he did it. Sarah prepared Claire for testimony through mock cross-examinations that left her shaking. Mrs. Matthews, you expect this court to believe you faked your own death? Yes, and conveniently, the only person who can corroborate your story is the doctor who helped you commit fraud. Dr. Morrison saved my life. Or she helped you escape a marriage you regretted. I escaped a man who beat me unconscious and killed my baby. Claire's voice cracked. Sarah held up her hand. Good. That emotion is real. Don't hide it. Let them see your pain. I don't want to relive this, I know. But if you don't, he wins. He gets to keep playing victim while you stay dead. Claire thought about the kids. Connor asking why bad people sometimes won. Lily saying Ree was the bravest person she knew. Okay, I'll do it. I'll testify. But first, they had to tell the children. That evening, all 6 kids sat on the couch. Ethan and Claire stood both terrified. We need to tell you something important. Ethan began. About Ree's husband, Claire added. 6 pairs of alert eyes fixed on them. You know I was married before, and that I left because he hurt me. Claire's voice remained steady through sheer willpower. What I haven't told you is how badly he hurt me, or that I had to fake my death to escape him. Silence. Processing. He's been pretending to grieve me, using my death to make himself look good, and I'm going to stop him. I'm going to court to tell everyone the truth. Will you go to jail? Sophie asked, worried. I might. That's a risk. But I can't let him keep lying. That's not fair. Owen jumped up. You didn't do anything wrong. The law doesn't always care about fair, buddy, Ethan said gently. Connor stood next, crossing his arms. Then we'll tell them. We'll tell everyone how you saved us, how you're the best person we know. They have to listen. You can't testify. You're kids. But we can support you, Grace said quietly. We can be there. We're your family, Lily added fiercely. Families stick together. Even when it's scary, Claire asked, throat tight. Especially then, Mason said. Claire looked at these 6 children who'd claimed her as their own. Her family. Okay, we do this together. 6 kids swarmed her in a group hug. Later, after the kids were in bed, Connor appeared at Claire's door. Ree, I made you something, a drawing. Claire standing in front of a courtroom, 6 kids behind her like an army. Caption in crayon. Ree is brave. We are her soldiers. She cried. He hugged her. It's going to be okay. I promise. 8-year-old certainty. She almost believed him. The week before the trial, the news broke. Presumed dead woman surfaces with abuse allegations. Claire Matthews believed killed in accident. Claims husband's abuse. The photo they used showed Claire from 2 years ago. Haunted, thin, broken. Derek's response was immediate and calculated. I'm devastated to learn my beloved wife is alive. I've mourned her for 2 years. These allegations are false and hurtful. Claire struggled with mental health issues. I'm consulting my lawyers. The comments section exploded. Gold digger trying to get his money. Why did she wait 2 years? Fake death equals fraud. She should go to jail. But also, I believe her. He looks like my abuser. No woman fakes her death unless she's terrified. Give her a chance to tell her story. The impact hit the kids immediately. Connor came home with a black eye on Tuesday. What happened? Ethan demanded. Some 8th grader said Ree was a liar, that she faked everything for money. Connor, you can't solve problems with fighting. I'd do it again. His jaw set stubbornly. No one talks about my family that way. Lily came home crying. My teacher asked if I was okay in front of everyone, like I'm broken because of Ree's situation. I'm not broken, I'm happy. Sophie reported her best friend's mom said she couldn't play at their house anymore. She said my family was complicated and she needed to protect her daughter. Mason withdrew, stopped talking at school. Owen's anxiety spiked. Nightmares returned. Grace drew dark pictures for the first time in a year. I'm ruining their lives, Claire said, devastated. No, Ethan was firm. Derek ruined your life. We're just finally dealing with it. The kids will be okay. How do you know? Because they have us. Because we're teaching them that sometimes doing the right thing is hard. And they're learning that standing up to bullies matters. They shouldn't have to learn it this way. No. But they are. And look how brave they're being. Derek's intimidation tactics escalated. Flowers delivered to the bookstore. Card. I still love you, Claire. Come home. We can fix this. She threw them away, hands shaking. Margaret called the police. He's not supposed to contact her. Next came the lawyer's letter. Accusations of fraud, defamation, theft. He's trying to scare you, Sarah said. Ignore it. Then photos arrived. Claire at the bookstore. Claire with kids at school pickup. Claire and Ethan at the grocery store. He was having her followed. Get a restraining order, Sarah demanded. They did. Derek violated it anyway. He stood across the street from the house one evening, just watching. Ethan called police. By the time they arrived, Derek had disappeared. Document everything the officer advised. That night, the kids refused to sleep in their rooms. 6 sleeping bags in the living room like a fortress. We're protecting you, Connor declared. 8-year-old security system. Claire loved them so much it physically hurt. Late that night, kids finally asleep. Ethan's voice came quiet and deadly. I want to kill him. Don't. I've never wanted to hurt anyone before. But watching him terrorize you, watching him hurt our kids. Ethan met her eyes. Yes, ours. Because somewhere in the last year and a half, you became theirs completely. And mine. And I will do anything to keep you safe. Ethan, I love you, Claire. First time he'd said it. I've loved you for months, maybe longer. I kept waiting for the right time, but there's never a right time. And I need you to know before that trial starts. I need you to know that no matter what happens, no matter how ugly it gets, I'm not going anywhere. I love you. The kids love you. You're ours, and we're yours, forever. Tears streamed down Claire's face. I love you too. God, I love you so much. They kissed, desperate, scared, hopeful. Tomorrow the trial started. Tonight they had each other. And sometimes that's enough. The courtroom was old. Dark wood, high ceilings, the smell of furniture polish and old books, and fear thick in the air. The gallery packed with people, media in the back rows, cameras ready. Derek's family and friends filled his side, dressed expensively, expressions carefully neutral. Claire's side held fewer people, but more heart. Ethan, Margaret, Dr. Morrison, Mrs. Chen, and 6 kids who should have been at school but insisted on coming. The judge allowed it. Unusual but compassionate. 6 children sitting rigid, holding hands, dressed in their best clothes. Claire's army. Derek entered. Perfectly tailored suit, confident stride, handsome, successful, sympathetic. Every inch the grieving widower. He looked at Claire. Smiled. Small cruel. Mine in his eyes. She forced herself not to flinch. Ethan squeezed her hand. You've got this. Prosecutor James Wright, 56, distinguished, experienced, stood first. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about power and control, about a man who spent 12 years destroying his wife's sense of self, about abuse so severe that Claire Matthews' only option for survival was to disappear. He laid out the timeline with methodical precision. Year 1, isolation from friends and family. Years 2 through 5, financial control. Years 6 through 12, escalating violence. Year 12, nearly murdered. You will see medical records spanning over a decade, photos that will disturb you. You will hear from Claire herself about the night her husband beat her unconscious and killed their unborn child. And you will understand why she had no choice but to fake her death. Pause. Let it sink in. Derek Matthews has played victim for 2 years, built a scholarship fund on his wife's supposed death, gained sympathy and donations. But it was all a lie. And today, that lie ends. Defense attorney Victoria Ross, 44 sharp, calculating eyes, expensive suit, stood with predatory grace. My client loved his wife, mourned her for 2 years, and now she returns with wild accusations and a new boyfriend. Convenient? Murmurs rippled through the gallery. The prosecution wants you to believe Derek Matthews is a monster. But Claire Matthews is the one who committed fraud, who stole from Dr. Morrison, who abandoned her legal marriage without a word. She pointed at Ethan. She's living with another man, raising his children, playing house, while my client grieved alone. More murmurs. You'll see no police reports, no arrests, no restraining orders, because they didn't exist. Claire Matthews was not abused, she was unhappy. And she chose to escape her marriage in the cruelest way possible. Victoria sat satisfied. In the gallery, Connor whispered, "She's mean. Lily Ree will show her." Mason. "I hope so." Grace squeezed Sophie's hand. Owen leaned against Ethan. 6 children terrified for their Ree. Day 2. Dr. Morrison took the stand. Morrison. How long did you treat Claire Matthews? 12 years, from the time she married Derek until the night I helped her escape. And in those 12 years, what did you observe Dr. Morrison opened her comprehensive file? 37 documented injuries, broken ribs, sprained wrists, bruises in various stages of healing, concussion, broken nose, and the final incident, blunt force trauma resulting in miscarriage and near death. Did Mrs. Matthews report abuse? Not initially. She made excuses typical of abuse victims. Falls, clumsiness, accidents. But I knew. Every doctor who's been practicing as long as I have knows the signs. Why didn't you report it? Because he'd threatened to kill her if she told anyone. And after 40 years of practice, I know a man capable of murder when I see one. Photos appeared on the screen. The jury winced. Claire's face. Broken, swollen, bleeding, unrecognizable. These were taken the night of the final assault. You can see bruising in various stages indicating repeated trauma over time. Victoria's cross-examination was brutal. Dr. Morrison, you helped Mrs. Matthews fake her death. That's fraud. I saved her life. Did you consider reporting Mr. Matthews to authorities instead? Yes. For 12 years. But Claire begged me not to. She was terrified. Most women killed by domestic partners are murdered when trying to leave. So you took the law into your own hands. I helped a dying woman escape. I'd do it again. The jury had seen the photos. That mattered more than legal technicalities. Day 3, Margaret testified. Ms. Chen, tell us about meeting Claire Matthews. She walked into my bookstore seeking employment. No references, no work history. Hands shaking so badly she could barely hold a pen. I'd seen that look before. 30 years earlier in my own mirror when I escaped my abusive husband. How did she perform as an employee? Excellent, punctual, hard-working, kind. In 18 months, never missed a day or been late. One of my best employees. Victoria's Cross Ms. Chen, you admit you're biased. I see a woman who survived. Or a woman who ran from an inconvenient marriage. No woman fakes her death because she's bored, Ms. Ross. Scattered laughter. Judge order. Margaret continued undeterred. That first day, Claire had bruises on her wrists. She startled at loud noises. Apologized constantly. That's not a woman unhappy with her marriage. That's a woman who's been terrorized. How convenient you noticed all this after the fact. I documented it in my diary. Would you like to see Victoria's smile faltered? No further questions. Score 1 for Claire's side. Day 4, Mrs. Chen, the babysitter, testified. I met Claire the night Ethan brought her home. November, 2 years ago. She was shaking so violently I thought she was ill. Thin, terrified, no coat, no belongings, just bruises. Did her condition improve? Yes, over months. She gained weight, stopped flinching, started smiling, became part of the family. Victoria's cross was pointed. Mrs. Chen, you watch Mr. Crawford's children. He pays you. Isn't this testimony biased? I'm retired. I watch the kids because I love them. What I saw was a woman move into a safe home and 6 grieving children slowly heal. How convenient. Truth isn't convenient, Ms. Ross. It's just true. Another point for Claire. Day 5 arrived, the moment everyone had been waiting for. Claire walked to the witness stand on shaking legs, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Sat. Derek stared at her, possessive, angry, trying to intimidate through eye contact alone. She forced herself to meet his gaze. She wasn't his anymore. Prosecutor James Wright began gently. Mrs. Matthews, please tell the jury how you met your husband. My father arranged our marriage. I was 19. Derek was 28. I didn't know him. Arranged, my father owed Derek's father money. The marriage settled the debt. Jury murmurs. And the first years he was charming at first. Attentive, but controlling. Chose my clothes, monitored my phone, isolated me from friends. I thought it was love, that he just wanted me to himself. When did it become physical? Claire's hands twisted together. 6 months in. I talked to a male cashier at the grocery store. Derek said I was flirting, embarrassing him. That evening he grabbed my wrist so hard it bruised, called it an accident. It escalated, yes, gradually. If I contradicted him, if dinner wasn't perfect, if I wasn't enthusiastic enough in bed, every failure earned consequences. She recounted 12 years. The jury listened horrified. Some took notes, some cried. All looked at Derek differently than when the trial started. Tell us about the baby. Claire's voice broke. I got pregnant after 12 years. After Derek told me constantly I was barren, broken, useless. When I finally conceived, I was terrified to tell him. She wiped her eyes. We attended a charity gala. His business partner complimented my dress. I smiled and said, thank you. Just politeness. Pause. Derek was silent on the drive home. Then he pulled into our driveway and started hitting me. Called me a whore, a slut. Said I was embarrassing him. I kept saying it was nothing, I'd never cheat. Please stop, please. She couldn't continue. Judge called recess. In the hallway, 6 kids surrounded Claire. You're so brave, Lily whispered. We're proud of you, Connor added. That bad man can't hurt you anymore, Sophie declared. Ethan held her while she composed herself. Almost done. You're doing amazing. Back in the courtroom, Claire continued. I told him I was pregnant. I thought it would stop him, that he'd be happy. Was he? He called me a liar, said I was trying to trap him, and he kept hitting me. What happened next, I don't remember. Dr. Morrison said I was unconscious when my neighbor found me, that I'd lost the baby, that I almost died. Why didn't you leave then? Where would I go? He controlled all the money. I had no family. He'd isolated me. And most women killed by partners are murdered when trying to leave. How did you escape? Dr. Morrison helped me fake my death. Car accident with a closed casket. She gave me money to start over. I came here hoping to disappear. And then I got robbed. Lost everything. Was sitting on a bench freezing when Ethan found me. She looked at Ethan in the gallery. He saved my life. Then his children saved it again. They reminded me I deserved to live. No further questions. Victoria's cross-examination was vicious. Mrs. Matthews, you committed fraud to survive. You stole from Dr. Morrison. She gave me money willingly. You abandoned your legal husband. I escaped my abuser. You're now living with another man playing mother to his children. Isn't this just a case of wanting a better life? I wanted to live. That's all. How convenient this abuse appeared only after you found a new family. I have 12 years of medical records proving it happened, from a doctor who admits to helping you commit fraud, from a doctor who saved my life. But the jury had heard Claire's story, seen her strength, most importantly, believed her. Day 7. The defense's turn. Derek took the stand, composed, sympathetic, every inch the wounded husband. Victoria led him through his version of events. Mr. Matthews, please tell the jury about your marriage. I loved Claire more than anything. When we married, I thought we'd have the perfect life. But Claire struggled with mental health issues, depression, anxiety. She'd sometimes lash out, break things, hurt herself. Lies. All lies. Claire's hands clenched in the gallery. She hurt herself, yes. Many of the bruises she claims I caused were self-inflicted. She'd get upset and hit walls, slam doors. I'd try to stop her and she'd blame me. Did you ever strike your wife? Never. I loved her. Perfect performance. Tears in his eyes. Prosecutor's cross was sharp. Mr. Matthews, you claim your wife hurt herself. Do you have documentation? She refused to see doctors regularly, yet Dr. Morrison treated her for 12 years. I wasn't aware of all her appointments. You controlled her finances, but weren't aware of doctor visits. I gave her freedom. You gave her bruises, broken bones. You nearly killed her and your own child. That's not true. 37 documented injuries, photos, medical records, all self-inflicted. I'm saying she's disturbed. Or you're a liar. Objection withdrawn. But damage was done. Derek looked credible, sympathetic, believable. In the hallway after Claire said, "He's going to win." Ethan pulled her close. No, he's not. But neither was certain. Day 8 brought final statements. Prosecution, ladies and gentlemen. Derek Matthews is an accomplished liar. He's spent 12 years lying about who he is, 2 years lying about mourning his wife. Today he lied to you. James gestured to evidence. But evidence doesn't lie. Photos don't lie. Medical records don't lie. 3 witnesses corroborated Claire's story. He pointed to the kids in the gallery. Those 6 children know the truth. They've watched Claire rebuild from nothing. Children have instincts about who's safe. They chose Claire. Final statement. Don't let Derek Matthews rewrite history. Give Claire her voice back. Find him guilty. Defense. The prosecution wants you to decide based on emotion, but this case is about facts. Claire Matthews committed fraud, faked her death, stole money. She's now living with another man. Maybe Derek wasn't a perfect husband. Maybe they argued. But that doesn't make him an abuser. Don't be swayed by tears or children. Look at evidence. Acquit. The jury deliberated 7 hours. Claire waited in the hallway with Ethan and kids. What if he wins? Connor asked. He won't, Ethan said firmly. But what if Lily pressed? Then we appeal. We keep fighting. Claire answered. Forever, Sophie asked. If necessary. We're with you, Mason said quietly. Grace and Owen nodded. Family united. Finally, jury's back. Everyone filed in. Claire's heart hammered. Ethan held her hand. 6 kids held their breath. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the count of domestic violence in the 1st degree, how do you find eternal silence? Guilty. Claire's knees buckled. Ethan caught her. On the count of assault resulting in miscarriage. Guilty on the count of coercion and unlawful imprisonment. Guilty. All counts. Guilty on all counts. Derek's face went white. His lawyer whispered urgently. Judge banged the gavel. Mr. Matthews, you are remanded to custody pending sentencing. Guards led Derek away. He looked back at Claire with pure rage. This isn't over. But it was. Finally, it was over. In the hallway, 6 kids swarmed Claire, crying, laughing, hugging. You did it. He can't hurt you. We won. Ethan pulled Claire into his arms. It's over. It's really over. She sobbed into his chest. Relief, exhaustion, joy. I can't believe it. Believe it. You're free. 3 weeks later, Claire still woke, expecting it to be a dream. Expected Derek standing over her. Expected the trial to start again. But mornings came and went. Derek was in prison. 15 years. She was safe. Really, truly safe. It's okay to be happy now, Ethan said one Sunday morning. They were in bed. Kids still sleeping. Rare moment of peace. I'm learning. Take your time. She rolled to face him. I keep waiting for something terrible to happen, for the universe to balance out this happiness. That's trauma talking, not reality. How do you know? Because I did the same thing after Rachel died, waited for the next tragedy, convinced myself I didn't deserve peace. What changed? He tucked hair behind her ear. You showed me that life doesn't stop, that healing happens even when you're not looking. That family isn't just about who you lose, but who you find. She kissed him. Soft, slow, safe. I love you. I love you too. From the doorway, they're being mushy again. 6 kids stood there grinning. How long have you been watching? Ethan asked. Long enough to know you're both making googly eyes. We have a question, Connor announced, stepping forward with siblings flanking him. Okay. When are you getting married? Silence. Because Lily continued, you already act married. Ree already lives here. She's already our family. So when's it official, kids? That's... Claire started. We've been patient. Sophie interrupted. We waited for the trial. We waited for you both to admit you love each other. But enough waiting. Marry her dad. Ethan looked at Claire. She looked at him, both laughing, crying. Is that a proposal by committee? Ethan asked. Yes. 6 voices chorused. Well then. He turned to Claire, taking her hands. Claire, I know this isn't traditional. I know we've been through hell. But these kids are right. You're already my family. You're already theirs. So will you make it official? Will you marry me? Connor pulled out a ring. Simple band, single diamond, perfect. You all planned this? Claire asked through tears. For weeks, Mason admitted. So Lily pressed, what do you say? Claire looked at these 6 children who'd claimed her, at Ethan who'd saved her, at the life they'd built from broken pieces. Yes, God, yes. Kids erupted in cheers. Ethan slipped the ring on her finger, kissed her while 6 kids made gagging noises. That afternoon they made plans. Small wedding, backyard, summer date, 3 months away. Time for Claire to breathe, to heal, to believe this was real. That evening, Claire stood in the garden she'd planted. Flowers blooming, life growing. She'd survived, more than survived. She'd learned to live again. Ethan found her there. Thinking about how far I've come. 2 years ago, I was on a bench ready to give up. Now I'm here, with you, with them, getting married. It's real. I promise. I love you, Ethan. I love you, Claire. They stood under stars. 2 broken people. 6 grieving children. 1 family built on choice and courage and love. Perfect. 2 weeks before the wedding, chaos reigned. The best kind. Connor wanted to help build the ceremony arch. Dad, we should make it together. Like a carpentry project. Ethan's eyes lit up. Yeah, You want to build with me? They spent the weekend in the garage, sawing wood, sanding, building. Father and son working together, Rachel's absence still present, but joy present too. Lily and Grace designed flowers. Ree's favorite color is lavender, Lily declared. With white roses, Grace added. Classic. And wildflowers for the garden, Sophie suggested. They created arrangements, argued about placement, made it perfect. Mason and Owen handled music. After much debate, they compromised string quartet playing modern songs. Fun and elegant. Dress shopping was an adventure. Margaret, Mrs. Chen, and all three girls accompanied Claire. Nothing white, Claire said. Doesn't feel right. What feels right? She touched champagne silk. Something new, fresh start. The dress was simple, elegant, flowing. Champagne silk with lace sleeves. You look like a queen, Sophie declared. Like Lily corrected. Perfect. Morning arrived with beautiful chaos. Kids woke Claire at 6 a.m. You're getting married today. Breakfast together, tradition, Ethan's slightly burnt pancakes. Last breakfast as girlfriend, Sophie announced. Next one she's wife, Owen added. Claire looked at Ethan across the table, both smiling. Ready for this? I've been ready since I found you on that bench. After breakfast separation, Ethan to Mrs. Chen's with boys. Claire stayed home with girls. Hair, makeup, dress. Margaret helped with final touches. You're glowing. I'm happy. You deserve this. I'm starting to believe that. Connor appeared in the doorway, suit perfectly pressed. Wow. Ree, you look wow. You clean up nice yourself. He took her hands. Are you sure you're okay with this? With me marrying your dad? Claire knelt to his level. Ree, you've been part of our family since you helped me with homework. You've been ours forever. This just makes everyone else know it. She pulled him into a hug. I love you, Connor. I love you too. Now come on. Dad's probably freaking out. The backyard transformation was stunning. 50 chairs in neat rows. The white arch Connor and Ethan built, woven with lavender and white roses. Wildflowers in mason jars lining the aisle. String quartet playing softly. Guests arrived, Margaret and bookstore employees. Mrs. Chen and her family. Ethan's colleagues, Dr. Morrison, Sarah the lawyer, neighbors. Small, intimate, perfect. Ethan stood under the arch with the boys as groomsmen. His hand shook. Nervous Connor asked. Terrified. Don't be. She loves you. Music changed. Girls walked down first. Grace and Sophie as flower girls, Lily as junior bridesmaid, all in lavender dresses, all grinning. Then Claire, Connor escorting her. 8-year-old shoulders back, proud, walking his Ree down the aisle. She wore champagne silk flowers in her hair, sunshine glowing behind her. Most beautiful thing Ethan had ever seen. Who gives this woman? The officiant asked. We all do, Connor said clearly. Me and Lily and Mason and Grace and Owen and Sophie. We give Ree to our dad. And Dad to Ree. Because they're ours now. Guests laughed through tears. The ceremony spoke of family love, second chances. Marriage is not just union of two people, but blending of families. Vows, Ethan first, Claire, 2 years ago. I found you on a bench. I thought I was helping you. But you saved me. You saved all of us. You taught my children that love doesn't run out. You made our house a home again. I promise to protect you, support you, love you exactly as you are every single day. Claire's turn, Ethan. You saw me when I was invisible. You offered shelter when I had nowhere to go. Your children taught me I was worthy of love. You taught me I was strong enough to fight. I promise to show up, to be honest, to love you and these 6 incredible kids with everything I have. Rings exchanged. I give you this ring as symbol of my love. By power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Ethan pulled Claire close, kissed her while 50 people cheered. 6 kids jumped up and down. Finally, Lily shouted. When they pulled apart, 6 kids rushed forward. Group hug around their parents. Family united. Official. Perfect. The celebration was simple, warm, filled with love. String lights hung everywhere. Long table for dinner. Kids running in the garden. Adults laughing over wine. First dance, Ethan and Claire swaying to classical music. How does it feel being married safe? Right. Like I'm finally home. You are home. Then kids cut in. Our turn, all 6 dancing with Claire at once. Beautiful chaos. Speeches. Connor stood. 2 years ago, Dad found Ree on a bench. We didn't trust her because lots of people left us. But Ree stayed. She became ours. He looked at Claire. "You're the best Ree ever. Welcome to the family officially." Margaret spoke. I met Claire when she walked into my bookstore broken and terrified. Watched her rebuild herself. "Ethan, you married a survivor. Treasure her." Every day, Ethan promised. As evening faded, kids fell asleep in the garden. 6 bodies in a pile. Adults moved them inside, tucked them in beds. Ethan and Claire stood in the hallway. "This is our life now," she whispered. "Is that okay?" "It's perfect." They kissed. Mr. and Mrs. Crawford. Family of 8. Built from loss and pain and courage. Perfect because they chose each other. Every single day. November evening, 1 year after the wedding. 3 years total since that bench. Claire stood at the same bus stop where Ethan found her. But this time, warm coat car nearby purpose. She wasn't waiting to be rescued. She was there to remember. Ethan appeared beside her. "Thought I'd find you here. 3 years ago tonight. Right here. I'd lost everything. Was ready to give up. And then I stopped." She leaned into him. "Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life." "Believe it. It's real." Silence, comfortable and safe. "I want to do something," Claire said. "With the money from Derek's restitution." After the trial, Derek had been ordered to pay significant damages. "What do you want to do?" "Open a shelter. For women escaping abuse. A place where they can stay, rebuild, find jobs. Real help, not just temporary." Ethan turned to face her. "That's perfect. Who better to run it?" "I want to call it Rachel's House, in honor of your first wife. She gave me the family that saved me." Ethan's eyes filled. She would have loved that. And loved you. I wish I'd met her. Me too. You two would have been friends. Snow began falling. Same spot, different circumstances. Full circle. Ready to go home. Yes. But first, she placed flowers on the bench. White roses. Wild flowers. For the woman she'd been. For the woman she'd become. "Thank you," she whispered to her past self. "For being brave enough to survive. Look what we built." Hand in hand with her husband, she walked to the car, drove home to family, to 6 kids who loved her, to life she'd fought for, to happiness she'd earned. Home. At home, kids exploded with news. Ree, guess what, all talking over each other about their days. Owen got Student of the Week. Grace finished a painting Mason made the soccer team. Connor aced his math test. Sophie learned to ride a bike without training wheels. Chaos. Noise. Love. Claire and Ethan exchanged glances. This was their life. Perfect. Later, after kids in bed, they sat in the garden. Flowers blooming even in November cold. "You know what I realized today?" Claire said. What Derek wanted to break me, make me think I was worthless, that I deserved nothing. And he failed. Completely. Because look at this life. Look at this family. I'm not broken. I'm not worthless. I'm loved. I'm strong. I'm enough. You always were. I know that now. She turned to him. Thank you for stopping that night. For seeing me. For giving me chance to become who I was meant to be. Thank you for staying. For loving my kids. For making me believe in second chances. They kissed under stars. Two people who'd lost everything. Who'd found each other in darkness. Who'd built something beautiful from broken pieces. The next morning, Connor found them asleep on the porch swing, covered in a blanket, holding hands. He smiled, took a photo, added it to the family album. Caption in his careful handwriting, "This is what love looks like." He was right. 6 months later, Rachel's house grand opening. Beautiful building, safe, welcoming. 20 rooms each with a bathroom. Kitchen, common areas, counseling offices, job training center, daycare for children, everything Claire wished she'd had. Ribbon-cutting mayor press community leaders. But Claire only cared about who stood beside her. Ethan, 6 kids, Margaret, Mrs. Chen, Dr. Morrison, Sarah. Her family. I'm proud of you, Ethan, whispered. We did this together. Connor cut the ribbon with her. Because you're brave, Ree. Now other people can be brave too. First resident moved in that day. Young woman, 2 kids, black eye fading. Claire knew that look. Welcome, Claire said gently. You're safe here. How long can I stay? As long as you need. We'll help you find a job, get kids in school, rebuild your life. No rush, just support. The woman cried. I didn't think places like this existed. They do now. That night, lying in bed. Do you think we made a difference? Claire asked. I know you did. Will it be enough? It's a start. You can't save everyone, but you're giving them a chance, like someone did for you. Now you're paying it forward. Claire thought about that bench 3 years ago, about the woman she'd been, the woman she'd become. I'm happy, Ethan. Really, truly happy. Is that okay? That's more than okay. That's everything. I love you. I love you too. Outside their window, 6 kids sleeping soundly. Safe, loved, chosen. Family built from pain and courage and hope. Perfect. 5 years later, Claire Crawford stood at a podium. National Domestic Violence Conference. Keynote speaker. Once public speaking terrified her. Derek had convinced her she had nothing worth saying. Now she had everything to say. 5 years ago, I sat on a bench in the cold believing my life was over. I'd spent 12 years in a marriage that nearly killed me. Lost a baby to my husband's violence. Faked my death to escape. Deep breath. 200 survivors, advocates, and counselors listened intently. I was ready to give up. But a stranger stopped. Ethan Crawford saw a woman sitting alone and chose to help. Not because he knew me, not because he expected anything, but because it was right. The audience settled in, recognizing a story of hope. Ethan brought me home. His 6 children grieving their mother taught me what unconditional love looked like. They were suspicious, tested me, pushed boundaries. But when I stayed, when I showed up every day, they chose me. Made me family. She clicked to the next slide. Photo Claire on that bench from news coverage. Next slide, Claire with 6 kids happy. This is the power of showing up, of offering help without expecting return, of creating space for someone to heal. Next slide, Rachel's house. 5 years later, I run a shelter that's helped 147 women and children escape abuse. We provide housing, job training, legal help, counseling. But most importantly, we provide hope. We tell survivors, you are not broken. You are not worthless. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be loved. Standing ovation. I want to be clear. I'm not special. I'm not extraordinarily strong or brave. I'm just a survivor who got lucky, who found help at the right moment, who had people willing to stand with me. She gestured to the audience. Every person in this room has that power to be the one who stops, who sees someone in pain and chooses to help. You don't need money or resources or expertise. You just need to show up. Pause for emphasis. Healing isn't linear. Some days are harder than others. I still have nightmares, still flinch at loud noises sometimes, still struggle with believing I deserve happiness. But I'm married to an incredible man who sees me, all of me, and loves me anyway. I have 6 kids who call me Ree and fill my life with chaos and laughter. I wake up safe every morning. I get to help other women find that safety. Final slide. Claire. Ethan, 6 kids, now 13, all smiling arms around each other. Family. This is what's possible. This is what happens when someone chooses kindness, when someone refuses to walk past suffering. She gripped the podium. If you're in an abusive relationship, you deserve better. You are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. You are strong enough to leave. And when you do, there are people waiting to help you rebuild. If you're here because you want to help, thank you. Your work matters. Every survivor you help is someone's daughter, mother, sister, friend. You're saving lives. And if you're a survivor, you already know you're brave. You survived. That's enough. Standing ovation continued. Claire stepped off stage. Ethan waited with all 6 kids. You were amazing, Lily said now. 13 and tall. So proud of you? Ree, Connor added, voice deeper. The others clustered around, all talking at once. Ethan pulled her close. You're changing lives. We're changing lives. This family. Together. Together, he agreed. Outside the conference center, a woman approached nervously. Late 20s. Mrs. Crawford. I just heard you speak, and She stopped, started crying. I've been planning to leave for months. Your speech made me realize I can do this. Claire took her hands. You can, and you don't have to do it alone. She pulled out a card for Rachel's house. Call this number, they'll help. No judgment, just support. The woman clutched the card like a lifeline. Thank you. For being brave enough to tell your story, it gave me courage to start mine. After she left, This is why you do it, Ethan said. That woman, she's going to leave because you shared your story. Our story. They walked to the car holding hands. 6 kids trailing behind, bickering about dinner plans. Normal. Beautiful. Theirs. Claire looked back at the conference center, then forward at her family. This was her life now, built from ashes of the old one. Better. Stronger. Real. Once she'd thought her story ended on that bench. But it hadn't. It had only just begun. Friends, if this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, if it reminded you that broken doesn't mean finished, that family is built through choice, not blood, that it's never too late to start over, please don't just watch and walk away. Sometimes we meet people when they need us most. Sometimes we are those people who need someone to stop to see us, to choose us when we feel most unlovable. Claire's story started with a stranger who chose kindness. Whose story will you change? Hit that subscribe button and join our channel for more stories that restore your faith in humanity. Because in a world that often feels harsh and unkind, we need these reminders. We need to know that good people exist, that healing is possible, that love finds us even in our darkest moments. Share this story with someone who needs hope today. Maybe they're going through their own darkness. Maybe they're feeling alone, broken, unworthy. Let this story be the light that reminds them. You are seen, you are valued, you are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been rescued by a stranger's kindness? Or have you been that stranger for someone else? Your story matters. Every act of compassion creates ripples we can't imagine. I read every comment, and your stories inspire me to keep sharing these messages of hope. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out. You are not alone. You deserve better. You are stronger than you know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing kindness. Thank you for believing that broken people can become whole again, not by finding someone to complete them, but by finding people who help them remember they were always complete. They just forgot for a while. Remember, you are not alone. You are stronger than you know, and it's never too late for a second chance at happiness. Until next time, keep choosing kindness. Keep showing up. Keep believing in second chances. You never know whose life you might change.